Right, so for this job you need a size 8 socket, a size 10 socket, some brake fluid, zip ties, cleaner and cleaning cloth. Start off by locating the front brake caliper. It's on the bottom there somewhere. Clean it off, clean out the surrounding area. Do the same for the brake reservoir as well. Unscrew the brake reservoir. 2 little screws that come up nice and easily. Make sure you have some copper grease to hand for when you put them back. I've had to tap these out once before. Remove the metal lid. Then carefully take out the plastic bit. Use a bit of nail or something, your nails, to pry it open. Now with brake fluid you want to be very careful with it because you don't want to shake the bottle or anything, but that's what it looks like at the moment. So you can see it's very dark, needs time to change, so I very carefully pour it not to cause any bubbles and stuff like that. That's what you don't want. Gently squeeze the bottle to make it come a bit more smoother. Now very straightforward, undo the bleed nipple, pump the front brake, then before you release the front brake, tighten it back up again, release the front brake, maybe get a couple of squeezes to make sure you still got the pressure, then undo the bleed nipple again, punch the brake, and it continuously cycles the fluid out. You have to do this a couple of times, so I did this a total of 2 or 3 times to cycle out all the old fluid, making sure that I was putting some nice new stuff in every time, making sure I did not let the brake reservoir run empty. Then once satisfied after doing it a couple of times, I simply topped it up to its correct amount. Just make sure it is by straightening the bars, make sure it is between the upper and lower, then reassembling the reservoir. Recommended a little bit of copper slip on the top of these screws because they can get water in and over time rust up. Clean around the area again after you finished any spills or anything like that. Now for the rear brake. Start off again by cleaning the reservoir and also cleaning around the nipple area, making sure it's nice and clean. Once clean, then, well, undo the reservoir for the rear brake. These are very long boy screws. And again, top up the reservoir till it's full-ish, and then undo the bleed nut and pump, tighten up and continue to cycle through again. Do this a couple of times so that it gets rid of all the old fluid out of the system and also you keep it from getting any air in. Now to avoid mess you could use a little bit of pipe. I couldn't find a little bit of pipe to bleed the brakes with, so just make sure you clear up the area after thoroughly. If you found these video helpful, then well, consider subscribing I guess, but also in the link below I'll put for the full playlist of other tips and tricks and maintenance videos on Honda CRF250Ls and M's and rallies. Now one thing I like to do to finish off, I'm not going to be riding the bike for the rest of the day, so I put a zip tie around the front brake, holding it in place, so any air gap or any air bubbles that is in the fluid will now get forced to the top. So yeah, that's not going to go anywhere, and that just builds up the pressure and leave that overnight. But for the rear brake it's a bit more difficult, but luckily because I've got a crash bar I can kind of wedge a broom underneath and keep rear brake held down with a broom, and I just leave that overnight. All good.